Smart muadie, smart pekasa. But they be a politician sit down when this way Jimmy for. When you answer, what's Ansibuache, what's Antony?
Oh, I don't know.
Now we are road minister. And our vice president cast answer full way at Ghana for. And then when you will see Andriasa, I see a area, SM Pintia Homa, Ebo Bodam, Saturday the interchange United. Hakwa we pa me to nyame. Say, Matthew, some will 2 million Kako, Mako Chile, Fibia, number 2. Kumasi labor, unim labor. Nam mapem, Abodam for work, Ashanti region, Quadam, Fia, Kutosa, Wumbo. Me to nyame. Be a penia, Kametsina, what to live at the Chileno. And the fear we could tap what down for Ashanti region as a Munchin Guano.
What dear?
Because that's not dream no yepe. You were the roads minister. You had your own vice president who says interchange so and infaswa Ghana card. So that one faswa. Kumasi, Nako labor. Baby, I'm over to me, you go. Koleba.
In the Ghana card, I'll choose the Ghana
card. Na ko bisa wo ekuta Ghana card nso mo tumtu aduane bi o se enim nyansa se bi before mpenifo amutie mo fanche me asema na o ya but idea na asem bi o ho hye eye me kra ya se yetu o mem na nipa ye ko gina wiem ato aba mo mo ye o madwen se kindergarten fa wodi na tie mu agro and na se so bo atie nya kokuduro former minister for roads and highways.
Ni enkomo na yenhwe de yakone de eba yewura Dr. Oti Bonsu menene kasawia mabubo videos bi a kire mo na mohu de yakone de eba Dr. Oti Bonsu ewo Ghana yaka ya papa Kennedy akompeko Japan se ase penine kakra uwai wo mu enye yie enti ya na nipa bi nso afa kwam bi aso se wo metimi de bibia bewura wo mfimfini nanka na ya asewo mu na things fall apart nanso huntimi nchalanyi yankropon ya waye ensam bi wo ho mama yankwaji mfi ya papa no na yentwa adwumedie nso yewra George Otibonsu anadwo Kens Jersey TV yamo adwo emo akraba de ba dwumedie iso mijoso mbo na oya
do but na uko presbyterian na
me ye presbyterian me ye organist me ye choir master
nya so die nka o
enka won so papa
ene onyu bia na ka otoro nka oto wanyu wo ya ka be me de
sawa hu
asibi aramikano
adibi arame ye oh anka sese nibisa sebe Yesu fe asese nibisa sebe Yesu fa so obama me ho pain hallelujah
and this Yesu fa wo se no wan anya ofe
ede na ye yankopon fa wu ni papa kesa nya ofe enti yedase imrepa
okay anyumre die maybe dika mecha wotiefo nyina
piao
na say you will be bika yen the base for Canada Agyapong no so on book Canada Japan on pro third force is coming.
My God. Third force eba.
Third force is coming.
Inti officially the base no ebeye official the base eba bedin ho.
Eba din ho yeah the third force eba. Oh, what a great news. What a great news. And he say no be unprepared set third force nyame eba. My God. Ebusia asam na eda dodo ama me pesa matiase. Mi soti bonso pesa wo kire se ye ka third force wa. Na che se wo Ghana amanyo semu a ye wo NDC ene ye wo MPP.
Inti yeba benya third force a eno no enkoye MPP enkoye NDC nanso eno so be ye kontem kura de ne ho.
Me ba so ane.
My God. Na Ghana emra no emaye kwa me ye saade no.
Oh emakwan na kwa ma no. Me ye the base for no. You see the ye na say anya o ya nya o faye.
Ampa.
Nti no ye content force.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. You see, among for a Jane say, ya Papa Kennedy, ade amuye, neni nje ho ompe, because na kuma wa MPP party mu, inti moya sana, asana mu kum ni sunsum. Inti, Honorable Kennedy, or third force ya, nebu nkofu.
And the base for no, the chita for no, and I have form say, Opo ya dineko. Enti na enye MPP asem na enye NDC asem. The staff won be can say I say afon ye nko ma abronye nkugina nkudidi ye panyina yidi na chi atem. Ye ma obia say obi koso o say nye sen fatana o ka kire no afon ye. Say be di MPP ya chi am obi be kan nsem hunu a kire o papa. O ma me e wo fie na de bia wodi o machi a say onya wo so na say bi wo so wo dwe ni fi.
Of course.
Enti de say ni o koso a omo ya mpanyifo no entimi nkan kire omo se de omo ye ne enye nti omo nya omo guso omo ye no ye ntra ho nkosi da ben na se wo benya opanyini bia ono so president ebetima kogina Asante region na opanyini na akase wo na wo de wonsa opa to opa jai na ye sebio ye myansa na ye so ete sa enzem wo ho opanyini Penina ono obeya ameye suano no ono aka kire se wona ode wonsa se ye de nsa nti ye se ye quartet force nti openiment be aka kire se ono na kire ye se wona ode wonsa nti ye nsa no so ye de quartet force e se nka o ka se wona ode wonsa nti kotuma MPP dia nkade bia nka ibesu
exactly
abo MPP ba ono na kire kwan se wona ode wonsa. That's a opinion etrefi star as also to bia opinion we asempa
Debida
and ka no anka obachichi owure aka asempa kire wo no ono eba ofie eba ka kire say abano de onchichire wo na say opa to man DC opa to wo dia so ono na a kire kwan
exactly nti we
kire kwan na che
ebufu bi anim
Baby, and Mr. Before being former president, and actually,
Opatim, or so part to my and their may and entertainment, ultimate tetemos adiano, a wow cuckoo. Oh, I see.
No, that's a ocean. Nano so, Agyapong, also a baby, no, because a magazine for when partner Yamudia, La Party says there. Almost said the
exactly.
That's all. And I don't think I also the base for it. Say, oh, because we actually say, yeah, any the answer there, Sabi, the answer, so you didn't say, yes, I compare at the part Abafi.
That's right. Inti at the part Abafiampa. Mr. Tibonsu, Yankupo Nshirao, Wankasa. Why jumasono pa efise enye easy na enye nipa nyina na de atowi eto mo motumi tenase obi kura sabe eja tumi ton ka mu no wanu medura kana no na wewu na de pa bia on fi se sombo pa ma ne firi ne nsa a ne bo ndura hena nso wakana no wewu na edan ma akuma kudu a wakobra ne hwe wanim ebugu ye na wasan enya akukuduro sadu gina wonan so wonyame na san yankopon no ongu animu ase de biara da Ghana ye wono enye obi ade ya ye nyina ye manya nti se wodwen oman Ghana timamufuo ho sanka nyame adum de kakra to winsami nkeja wo de wumpie eno ansa woto na wo fra wo ma wo ma serve ba wo se da bi wo badwin wo bi a wo bere ho de a ewurade nhwa wo saa nti de bezo ne kofareba eyewo nti ye nyina beda wase soronko pa aseda efuro twodua mpon ho ene yedi kande ama ho na sa breaking news ya abei ye gina so na officially yaka wo Kings Jersey TV so ewa America ha say the base now ye ba be ye third force ni ye kura wie nti ye ka third force bi wo Ghana eye the base afi ne mpenifo betena se na ye di edin official name ankasa nso ebeba abonten na ya launch saadi no nti we dia wo ka e dia to Ghana ni biara wodo ye papa Kennedy Agyapong na wo pen vision na on pesa ade a Yankopon de acheni sabe obejemu ato wo keke ese the base ebe ye third force wo Ghana
me wo asem kito bi ameka de twa to say the base na yen see third force no minim say the base for no ya dwene mu dupa
my god
ya dwene kwachiri ene ka say third force nti minim say ye rekoto ya papa nso ni mu a oni yehwamo obetiase amaye
my god
nti the base for no mo story na fa ya ho de nyansa ne enim die em fight ma o man Ghana na Ghana first no afa na dru ho
afa na Ghana first no edru ho because ye won say uguta the powerful tool Ghana first said ya yewura Trump he American first ya ukutem den dia obi ntimi ye no wakasa Baako na ewiase ina obi na yekuta Ghana first na tumi aka ho asesa nka be Ghana first no ase yenka ye ya tutu na jeje mu dia nyame akasa enti misotibonsu yeda wase Yankopon hira na nyame aduma na panso official ye besa na wedi nkomo na wasa approve minimu ha nanso nya yati ya mpo the base for amanfo send please I want to join the base don't worry send me message our phone number na go screen no ase ho no send me WhatsApp na me hu number me no di nkomo wi a na me hwebe bia wo free a yedo ebeka ho na bribi akose misosi bonsu ana pay anadwi yeda sepa ne obra wo de amayen na wama sesei enije na ase afromu ma Yankopon hira
okay mesum mecha etifo nyina ndinyampa ochna
thank you very much all right
bye bye
one day more baby I'm from the man and come me share the link
I see the new brand that say I'm sure madam say me so me said do e ko afedwe oh me said do bra me said do habibe
oh me said do bra na ya papa Kennedy Kwame Akompre ko Japan ankasa wo ho abra announcement ne ba ya NDC efo wonom yese baamia na eso bana ombo baamia dimpe nom se ya relieved adesua bi efie so because baamia obia obegina NDC anemu obehye na NDC colors obeyi na hweho na wana yakwa akoto abama MPP in the name of MPP amabamia agese wonom a sisei omo cartel na omo mama hu positions ewo party ni mu pe sisei national chairman wontumi national women's organizer Hawa Kumsin general secretary say national secretary abronye chese omo eche enti sana de na koye enti ebusua we de asama eya asem de eya Dr. Bamiana asem na ya asem dada pa o eya asem dada pa o NDC for say MPP for say omo njin de say omo de Dr. Bamia baba na so omo de ba ye be trawa no na so Dr. Bamia ba North vote ni na so e better form na so mi ko jina vote original e ho se e better form NDC e better form enti abusu amunji ntum mumpo na bi aya nipa 12 million na register to watena so na mu wantimi amfa MPP akunya na tena so ebia monhwe ewurade nkwaje se pie edano ebeye dese ebeye nije se efise onyankopon onye na adekwa nyankopon onye na adekwa enti eyimre eye nije sam ena yate enidisam kasi osidemi yenzima nyame otaso inshirankaye entasefuru awawada ozidoye emunkanjira Kennedy no nte no ho na MPP fu ya na wo mu bekum no otrapach me MPP fu bekuno munkanjira ya papa Kennedy no nte no ho me say the base Kennedy po on po the base third force ya deneraba. Stay tuned.
Odimaya the Kufuor na so interview no abrochire ma o cancel interview no mampani mahama die kwa no nka ho nso friend no ono abai trying to paint the picture say as a mampani mahama de no owa hobrase na Kufuor na oni ahobrase nti ono se Ghana ni ko interview no kwa no o cancel interview and all that minim so hu sa video na na do you have any info on Savi? I mean, after Savi do no bad point. Me who say me who video near, but my read this story no. Oh, okay. Me who video. Oh, okay. Yes, what my no interview and all can answer. Okay. I saw the video. Okay. Me tina me who no. No true story no. I want to looking like I say or can be tia President Kufuor. But no can say headline on there. Yes, the headline was bad. Say Kufuor snub. You see the word snub. Also snubbing. Well, omo cancel interview no say time against you mu CBB. Okay. Nti no na quite senior. Ade no mbe ni nyina no ase omo anyeyi until so hu mampani mahama o chia no ne kasa na mampani say oba no ba ye the following that like trying to paint the picture say mampani mahama ewo nipa ho abotora o ahobrase na Kufuor no ni ahobrase. So I wanted to know say okay. So we need to course one kasa di anka na yeche. Okay. Na and then the name ni hobi. Okay. But it will be out of place to say President Mahama any nipa ho time and also nipa ni nkomo because my personal relationship with him and engagement with him, it is true. President Mahama epe nipa ho abefrel. Me ho me kro na na frame. Okay. We ti kro abefrel me come minister come. But to say that President Kufuor so any nipa whole time and now the creative industry whole time now obi obeka say boa President Kufuor on the creative industry in particular relationship no okay Kweku Kwatin former minister deputy minister okay Baako na mo multimedia first 4 years is na minister yes oba ho na say oh Minister, but say I am coming here. President Kufuor, a committee on the creative for her against
or see any then be mamo. Na papa no, we can ask Kweku question. He will tell you. Or see, then when we no promotion sir, that's what Kweku said. I say promotion do they be a creative art, they be a creative art. Again, Ubekaya, but then Kufa do Bajan Kroma. So now unim energy, the dear Musina budget or energy in education. Yeah. I don't know bananko.
Not Nikose creative.
At the 2024 December elections, leading members of the NDC, including the current finance minister and the current agric minister, they all said if we were given the opportunity to come into office, the minimum they will offer the cocoa farmer would be 6,000 cedis per 64-kilo bag of cocoa. If you look at their manifesto, a lot of promises have also been made, including cocoa, the operationalization of the cocoa pension scheme, as well as healthcare for the cocoa farmer. When they were taking office, the producer price of cocoa, the farm gate price, was 3,100 Ghana cedis. And I remember the finance minister saying Nanadro was a cheat and that he was cheating cocoa farmers and wicked, and that he was big time. They increased the cocoa price from 3,100 to 3,225 and subsequently to 3,625. Yesterday, when the cabinet, emergency cabinet meeting was called, we were expecting that the president was going to give a directive that the finance minister should find money to pay cocoa farmers who have sold their produce to the license buying companies. This morning we were waiting for the press conference at 11 o'clock. It didn't happen. 1 o'clock, it didn't happen. It started somewhere around 2:30 thereabout. Only to hear that the producer price has been slashed by more than 1,000 Ghana cedis. 10 million. From 3,625 to 2,587. This has never, ever happened in the history of this country. Why are we treating cocoa farmers this way? Why? Cocoa farmer has never enjoyed the full benefit of the FOB. Never, ever. Sometimes we even pay them 40%. Cocoa farmer has sacrificed for this country. And in fact, if the cocoa farmers' farm gate price is going to be reduced by almost 30%, then everybody's pay in this country also be slashed by that margin. Is the chief executive officer of Cocoa Board, his allowance and salary, is he going to be slashed by the same margin? I am sad. Today is a sad country for everybody. And I think the president should come again. Cocoa farmers deserve better. And they should not be treated like trash. I thank you very much for your attention. Enura Mobetia, President Kase offer emergency meeting. Then you know say emergency meeting now offer no. Edi asem papa beba. The na meeting na so Obekase finance minister. Kwa we sika na fa betua akuafoka. If is anya na nko na cocoa price akofom. Dey wura kofo abreso cocoa price akofom. Kofo pe kwan papa so edi tua akuafoka. Dey wura omampanyin kufo ado abreso. International price ekofom omampanyin pe kwan papa bi so edi tua akuafoka. Akuafo na hwe Ghana saa free set tate kwahye cocoa buy 1879. Ni efre na FOB. Price ade bi ekogye no international market no. Yemfa ni nyina ma akuafo da. Da bia yetua ne kese na 70%, ohemu chichemu aduoson. Eduru me bi kra timi tiba fom 40% pen ye de ma akuafo. And the international price akofom a afipe na omubu man ye o. Afepe na wate akuafo wo mo akatua wo de ma wo mo so 10 million no nti akuafo wo mo nya de akuafo na hwe man yisa ye ma ye scholarship ye de bi ya kwan ye de bi si bibia akuafo na hwe man yi nyina na no ko hwe Bank of Ghana omo report ba ya report no nko ase afie nko ano 2025 nko ano omo nya 3.9 billion dollars wo de fa multiply current rate into sika na akuafo sika no omo de ye de na ebo ne ko fom a wo kote akuafo omo akatua de ma wo so 10 billion bag of the baby bia nti mo gidi se one akuafo edi ne ye ye beto aba asembe ne yantian free yewura rikopoko asembe ne yantian free yewura atofo sin ho senya me ya adom mahama na mu ose wonni kokofo akopa asase wonni kokofo akopa asase enti asase ayen kopene no nie resetting no enu nie resetting enu nie so ahu na yenti ni panyinsem da say yati koko akuafo eboso koko akuafo na ahwe o man yi saa enti media mesre si yati koko akuafo boso dia ene ye Ghana ha ye ne ye adwuma nyina yenti obia koko na katua so ena koko border chief executive mon ko hwe ne office Monkohwe ne office baby ana ne manager office wo ho na wode aye dan ne monkohwe ne fie asiasi a waye afi nkoa wato Land Cruisers 4 na ane de yente so enti na katua ne yebete so ena me wura pa da me wura kese pa ya da me ma me wuye ene de akwa ye atwa sa de no mu ye atwam enti resra mo nyina mo fama no ntumbi akuafo na ya akuafo na hwe man yi saa bepem ne adan ne atutu o musa nti yesrew man panyin se wo mrabiem na nane kina ya o meka sa papa foforo enkyere akuafo na se ne we pa so wote so 10 million de yampene anu kwa de yampene nti yesrew man panyin se won sa mrabiem yedamase
So, ladies and gentlemen of the press, we were told that the Minister for Finance was coming to announce what they call a restructuring of the cocoa sector. We are very surprised that the minister rather used the opportunity to shortchange cocoa farmers. Before we left government, we introduced a turnaround strategy for cocoa board, and we worked on this with the IMF. This strategy was intended to comprehensively restructure cocoa board. What is happening today in the cocoa sector is not surprising to us because this government has failed to implement the cocoa board turnaround strategy. That is why cocoa board is facing these challenges. I heard that the minister is directing to move the cost of cocoa roads to the Ministry of Roads. This measure was in the strategy, the turnaround strategy that we handed over to them. It took them 1 year. They have not implemented it. Only because there is now crisis in the cocoa sector, the minister has rushed to announce this measure, which the minister was well informed about in the strategy for turning around cocoa board, which we handed over to them. They were also supposed to legislate a transparent pricing policy for cocoa. They have not done that. They were to remove some cost items which tend to reduce the producer price of cocoa, which we thought were unnecessary and in some cases duplicative. They have not done that. They were supposed to get cocoa board to move away from non-core businesses and also to improve on efficiency and reduce cost, particularly in procurement. They have not done that. And so as far as we are concerned, this NDC government did not need to announce any new strategy for for restructuring Cocoa Board. And as we expected, they could not announce any comprehensive strategy for restructuring Cocoa Board. If they implemented the strategy that we handed over to them, Cocoa Board will not be in this mess. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I am even surprised that the IMF is sleeping over this. Because we developed this strategy in consultation with the IMF as a requirement, one of the requirements for implementing the IMF program. I'm really surprised that the IMF has gone to sleep on this. And this government is recklessly managing the cocoa sector, which has brought us to this unprecedented crisis in the sector. Given the scale of the crisis in the sector now, a sector which is one of the most important pillars of our economy, one expected the government to give Cocoa Board a bailout, as we did during the MPP time, rather than reducing the producer price for cocoa. A bailout would have been necessary, particularly at the time we are told that the economy is strong and resilient. They said they are better managers of the economy. An economy that is better managed cannot pay cocoa farmers. An economy that is better managed reduces the producer price of cocoa. And so Ghanaians can see the deception and the narrative that the NDC government brought to them about our government, the previous MPP government, as having badly managed the economy. Ghanaians can now see who is better managing the economy. Ladies and gentlemen, the cocoa of Ghana, Ghana's cocoa, is now considered more expensive. And this has been confirmed by the CEO of Cocoa Board, my friend Randy Abe. He has confirmed in an interview that Ghana's cocoa is now more expensive, and therefore consumers are turning away from Ghana's cocoa, as a result of which demand for Ghana's cocoa has fallen. The reasons for this are not far-fetched. We warned this government about the reckless overvaluation of our currency. We warned them several times that these dollars they are pumping and pumping into the economy, that reckless intervention. Last year alone, they intervened to the tune of 10 billion United States dollars. The trend has continued. That reckless overvaluation of our currency will affect our economy. Because those of you who understand economics know that when you overvalue your currency, it adversely affects the export competitiveness of your country. And so, is it surprising that the competitiveness of cocoa on the global market is reducing? Is it surprising? Because this government thought that managing an economy is by pumping dollars to show up the city. And now this is the effect. Overvaluation, when your currency appreciates unreasonably, as we are seeing, your exports suffer. Rather, what you see is promotion of imports. And so more imports are coming into our economy. Our exports are losing value on the international stage. And increasing imports will only come to reduce the domestic production base, because it will affect domestic production of goods and services. This is why you go to the market today, imported rice is now more expensive than locally produced rice. You go to the market, imported maize is now more expensive than locally produced maize. This government is cheaper. It's now cheaper than locally produced maize. This government should know, because they have economists amongst them. They should know that anytime you are implementing a policy, there are trade-offs. There are trade-offs, and therefore by overvaluing the currency as a policy, they should know that other sectors will suffer. So what a responsible government has to do is to achieve what we call policy equilibrium. Policy equilibrium, so that all sectors are protected. I'll give you an example. They tell us that inflation is now 3.8%. Good, isn't it? It's good. But if you look at what we call purchasing power parity approach in economics, it tells you that when your inflation is 3.8%, your currency should depreciate by at least 3.8% in order to protect exports. What do we see? They are going around bragging about appreciation. That is poor economics. When your inflation is 3.8%, your currency should depreciate by more than the inflation rate in order for you to protect your exports. Because your exports is your economy. Your exports create jobs. And so in this era of 24-hour economy, the least this government could do was to protect the exports of our country and thereby protect jobs in this country. Rather, at the time they passed the authority for 24-hour, they are also reducing the domestic production base and thereby reducing opportunities for employment in the country. And so, ladies and gentlemen, my view is that the figures they are branding about, inflation is this, the exchange rate is this, is killing, behind these inflation figures, is killing our economy. And the cocoa sector has just exposed them. The cocoa sector has just exposed them. Maize, I'm just coming from my constituency. They have piles of bags of maize that they are not able to sell. Because people will go to buy the imported maize at the expense of locally produced maize. And so the efforts our farmers are putting into this work to save our economy, to save our country, to feed our country, this government, the NDC government, is recklessly undermining all these efforts. And it won't be long before Ghanaians will see the reality of this government. So I thank you very much.
Colleagues, good afternoon. Just to add a few more comments and then we will wrap up. First of all, we are of the view that the Republic of Ghana did not need an emergency cabinet meeting just for the purposes of discussing how to pay cocoa farmers. When you have to call an emergency cabinet meeting just for the purposes of discussing how to pay cocoa farmers, then there's a real crisis in government, which you are covering up with some numbers and some narratives. In the previous MPP era, payment of cocoa farmers was a matter of regular procedure. Now emergency cabinet meetings are being called just to discuss how to pay cocoa farmers. But to the more substantive argument, first of all, the announcement that Cocoa Board should immediately pay them, that announcement is of no effect. Because that announcement presumes that Cocoa Board has the money and was deliberately refusing to pay the farmers. Is that what was going on? No. Because if this whole press conference is about the fact that the government went to a cabinet meeting and has instructed Cocoa Board to pay the farmers, seriously, it raises more questions than answers. Because unless you are saying that the money was available and Cocoa Board was refusing, then what the government should be doing specifically is instructing that emergency liquidity assistance should be released to Cocoa Board to pay the farmers, not an announcement that they should be paid. But we don't want you to forget the two main causes of the crisis we're having in the cocoa sector now. Two main causes. Number one is that the new managers of the cocoa sector have reset the trading program of Cocoa Board. We used to sell about 70% on forward sales and 30% on spot. They argued that that was an incompetent approach and decided to change it. And now they are selling about 70% on spot. That is why today, as prices have dipped, they are struggling and are saying that the price they had announced ends up being higher than the current prices on the market. That's number one, because of their own decision to reset the trading model. Number two is the artificial injection of forex into the Ghanaian economy, which has overvalued our cedi, as Dr. Amin rightly explained, and is therefore making our exports relatively more expensive. Remember, we've been raising this matter for a while now. And when they say, oh, dollar has come down, clap for us. Now we are beginning to see the effect, at least in the first area, in the cocoa sector. This action to announce a 28% reduction in the price amounts to a haircut of about 28% on close to 1 million Ghanaian cocoa farmers. You may not recognize it. 28.6% reduction. This 28.6% haircut is going to affect about 1 million cocoa farmers. And if you add to it the number of people who assist them on the farms and their dependents, my gosh, we're getting to maybe 3-4 million people are going to be affected by this haircut that the NDC government has announced. You see, when you manage an economy with artificial adjustments, the real effect will be realized on cocoa farms, in transport fares, in electricity bills, in school fees. Now you are beginning to see the real impact of some of the things that we are talking about. And it is now clear that this NDC government cannot be trusted. When the MPP moved cocoa prices from 475 Ghana cedis per bag to 3,100, they told the people of Ghana that we were robbing them and that they should actually be getting 6,000 to 7,000 Ghana cedis. And just about 1 year in their tenure, they could not even pay the 6,000. They now said 3,650. No.
And 25.
3,625. And even that one, they can't pay. They have to call an emergency cabinet meeting to announce that Cocoa Board should pay. And then after that, they announced a 28% haircut on the poor Ghanaian farmer. One of the impacts, and that's what I want to conclude with. Already when you go into the cocoa growing areas, I was in my areas just a few days ago. A lot of young people are already not going into cocoa because they say the older folk who went into it, they don't see a transformation in their lives. It's left with the old, elderly, poor on the farms. When you do this, what is going to happen in subsequent years is that even those ones will not be going into the cocoa production. If they won't sell their cocoa farms to Galamsey operators, God knows what they will do. They will abandon their farms. Now, what it means also is that the productivity, the growth, the jobs, and the incomes that come from the cocoa sector, the foreign exchange that comes from the cocoa sector in subsequent years is all going to dwindle. And so we in the minority have a number of requests to government. All of this has come about because of the reset that Cocoa Board did. And that is why, respectfully, we ask the president to relieve the Cocoa Board CEO of his responsibilities at this point in time. Number two, we are asking the government that in previous times when cocoa prices fell and the government absorbed the shock and protected the cocoa farmer, the NDC government should absorb the cost of what they have done and protect the cocoa farmer and restore at least the 3,625 that they promised. This 2,800 or so that they are promising is totally unacceptable. Already we are receiving messages from cocoa farmers who say that if this is what is going to happen, they are going to demonstrate in a number of these. And if they do, we in this caucus, we will join them on the streets to do this demonstration. We thank you for the time and the opportunity that you gave us. Na ehun hia sa ban be frɛ cabinet meeting, emergency cabinet meeting say yekodwindwin kwan ya be fa so atua koko akuafo eka. Edu emra e wo sa wo frɛ cabinet meeting say wo kodwindwin kwan ya betua koko akuafo ka. Na kyerɛ say asɛm wo hɔ e na wo kata so. Asɛm kɛse wo hɔ na wo kata so. Na sa announcement we o man say Cocoa Board enkotua akuafo no. Eni nyina so obi esan say e kamia say ne sika no wo hɔ deda. And a Cocoa Board, a bois passe, or muntua. Then, yes, I did away announcement or munkutia saying. There was a binding and say, or Chef Finance Minister and I, we know Cassani say, Precope, Uncle Pesica, their friend emergency liquidity assistance, Emma Cocoa Board, na Cocoa Board in Fintia. Sanyas, I now becase, or munkutia, Cadia, and then the chess and escan woho. Now, Brony Trimodintin and Onya Day, Untua. Now, and then I cover we are by, and Pesa More Biffin, Mammy, no cover we are by. Baako say, Aban we buy no mas sakra o mas sakwan e fa so ton ye koko first na ye de ani hwe daachen ebo future prices and as a forward trading na ya ton o hanchichemu edioson 70% on buy no mo se yen nim ye nti o mas sa no o ma pam mpanifo ni bia ye de o mo nkofo abehim ena na o mas sa no se o mo beye 30% on futures.
This is Channel 1 TV. I am Akosia Ochri. We brought to you a press conference by the minority in Parliament. You just heard the Agyapong, the Ofuasia Yoruba Member of Parliament, and also the member on the Economy and Development Committee of Parliament. There was also Dr. Amin Adam, who is the former finance minister, and also you had there Agyapong, who happens to be the minority ranking member on agriculture. Now, they've been talking about a number of things regarding the cocoa sector. Earlier, we had the finance minister address the public on issues regarding financing to cocoa farmers. Well, they indicated that the cocoa crisis that we are seeing, one of the reasons is that Cocoa Board in 2022, their financing had deteriorated, and so it led to default in some payments, and there was some restructuring in the cocoa bills in 2023. But the minority says there's actually a haircut in what is going with regards to the new producer price that we've seen. That is, they are saying that the slashing of the price is going to, not really help farmers. And with what we are seeing, they're saying that the 70% of FOB guarantee in the new Cocoa Board bill, which now we know is expected to be presented in Parliament, is not going to reflect in farmers' pockets. We have here in the studio Nana Tufo-Boateng, who happens to be the head of news, monitoring events with regards to what is happening in the cocoa sector. Nana, you're welcome. With what a minority is saying, let me first pick your general comments on their press conference.
Well, you'd expect the minority to react to the government's announcement of the reforms in the cocoa sector. And this will be because as a minority, they're supposed to exercise their oversight, of course, being members of Parliament. But again, recall that the minority earlier held a press conference highlighting the challenges in the cocoa sector and throwing some demands at government for government to immediately raise money to pay the farmers. The farmers have not been paid since October. You know, the season starts between September and October. So payment hasn't been done since then. And so the minority had cause to complain, held a press conference earlier. Subsequently, the president called an emergency cabinet meeting. We're actually expecting the reforms to have been announced yesterday, but Minister in charge of Government Communications, Felix Kwakye-Ofosu, did tell us yesterday after that cabinet meeting that the finance minister was going to announce some reforms today. The finance minister has gone ahead to make those announcements, covering a wide range of issues, administrative processes, legislative instruments to be presented, if you like, the redirection of cocoa road debts to the finance ministry, moving that away from Cocoa Board and all. And so Cocoa
Board itself, restructuring to be happening there soon.
Even calling for a forensic audit into Cocoa Board and its operations. Clearly and obviously, the minority would have listened in to that particular announcement, would have watched the press conference by the finance minister and have jotted down their own points, where they see lapses and what they think can be done to, if you like, restore cocoa to its former glory as our biggest foreign exchange earner. If you listen to Dr. Isaac Yao Opoku, who is a ranking member on the Food, Agriculture and Cocoa Affairs Committee of Parliament, so the press conference basically was broken into three parts. And you notice that, so there's a ranking member on Food, Agriculture and Cocoa Affairs. So he is a cocoa person, an agric person, speaking to the impact of the reduction of the cocoa producer price, the farm gate price, on farmers. Then you had Mohammed Amin Adam, MP for Karaga, but also a former finance minister, speaking to, if like, some strategies or policies they left behind, and saying that if same had been implemented, we wouldn't be where we are today. And then, of course, Kojo Oponkroma speaking to policy, because he's a member of the Economic and then Policy Committee of Parliament. So basically that's how they structured that.
Yes, and you had the former finance minister, Dr. Amin Adam, related it to the economy and the currency. Well, he said that the overvaluation of the overvaluation of the currency is resulting in what we are seeing in the cocoa sector.
Clearly, because so if the cedi is gaining strength as against the dollar, mind you, we import with dollars, we export with dollars. So if the cedi gains strength as against the dollar, what happens is that you are able to import more. And then your exports are restricted, because now the price of your produce on the international market becomes more expensive as against other countries who are exporting same produce. And just as was mentioned, same has been admitted by the CEO of Cocoa Board, Dr. Randy Abe. What is happening is that, and for them, they relate it to the forex, or if you like, the strengthening of the cedi. Well, it can also be debated, but we'll leave it to what the reason they are ascribing to it. What happens is that this will impact the revenues of Cocoa Board, because now buyers on the international market will begin to look for cheaper options. And so you are looking at countries like Cote d'Ivoire, Nigeria, Ecuador, Brazil, okay, because they are also producing heavily. And then, but it's what helps us is the quality of our cocoa that gives us that, if you like, strength over these other countries. However, if our prices are not competitive, and if this is as a result of our forex, our currency gaining strength against the dollar, which of course is the trading currency when you go on the international market, then there's a challenge, because then your produce becomes more expensive. You are unable to beat competition based on pricing. And I don't think on the international market, quality alone will take you there. Pricing is also very, very important. So that is one of the reasons they ascribe to the crisis that we are facing. The other
Power 50.
What?
More rank every year.
What?
People driving change.
People who are driving change.
Yes.
In their nations, about top of 5. I mean, I'm so proud of you. Oh yeah. We must be proud of our own, and then promote our own. The American what is yet your memoir, Nipa Bibi Papa, so you come and see her and appreciate it. Mamma be a bomb pie, so you're bonny and then I saw a so. Yes. Be a failure in the country. I know that just and you can't know one year to Yagan so. It's in Zoom. I don't know money should know one of the best in Ghana. Thank you. That is what I can say.
Thank you.
From Omoka. I said it's one of the best. It's one of the best. The American what I say. They said you can you say and Nena watching. Yes, I'm Peja. I'm some family. And now Obi so up a dime. Your Kobabia or Obama $700,000
a dime or Ghana.
I mean how?
California about $250,000 dying or California.
I mean how? I'm saying
$700,000 for a
I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I'm going to ask the president Yame Shirano on Nessia no about wine and another two. I'm going to ask so before you know that wine on the panel and then sign concrete Dr. Baumia.
Yes,
Baumia team,
the presidential, yes.
So Yamishran, Yaman Congress to Ayadi, Tim Nayadi, yes. Tim Nayadi.
Upon campaign in Anona, a month for him saying about to and can't talk.
But it was so excellent, it was so peaceful. So and we in the 2024 election, I mean, I was a Ghana, you're so unique. Because we had the tension and it drew and then be Ababako now. So come, my girlfriend, Yamishan, so can by Dr. Campino, Jennifer, and Mr. George. George, honestly, now and some.
Oh, Krobia.
Honestly, dear Papa. Tell me, I know Buffy.
Yes.
When they tell me your Buffy. Yeah, Krobia, they tell me your Buffy. And your boncomosa. Yeah, country. Yeah, honestly, Yamishana, Mamma Sudru. This year, there. They used to Juma. Krobia, baby, will be a Yamishran. Oh, yeah, you, Papa, Krobia. Is very hard working communicator. Hard working communicator. I give you a better in your bed. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm gonna watch it.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Come here, I said now, but yeah. Dr. Bomianum Crofoni to soon Yamasi. I can't Crofon. I'm telling you, that's the whole truth. Oh yeah. You're Bechumbia.
Omukodiso.
I'm telling you. Could be a beefy all the time. I'm telling you. Them gonna watch I say. Oh yeah. Yeah, and mama should do so Yamishra, Omunina, including a Dr. Samira. Brunia say he or Breme the biggest hamper. Oh, yeah, maybe this of Obiama hamper so sad.
Samira about me.
I am telling you.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Oh, yeah. Yamishran. Yamishana, I saw me became home here. But Tango said, Vivian, we asked us, Obama, Tango said, and I'm a million of the abyss. Okay, baby, doctor, pick himself, so you unity. Nijamiana, Megajo, say Nipa, Bear said 29 from the catcher, can or obey it. Can't you can on Tino? And person can just uncle for said, came and can number. People don't know. Or for me, yeah. Many can number. Ah. Me will present number, me will Dr. Bomia number. Many can number.
Can the only number.
And tin mamo the slomintino entino I some futu bit mama sama komua. Dr. Bomia and yesu ya dear. The year dear pa or your lady or you're very unifier. Pa on the apache.
When them said they can't boom.
Papa. Obama said Juma can pay for bio after election. They should make sure. They should make sure. Me repeat it. They should make sure. Said the unity. I am number one.
Okay.
They come together. Them gonna what I say. We don't we our own revenge. We don't we our own shisha roba.
Right.
Them gonna what I say. And kugo tie easy. Into obi wedding kugo ni bubefu. Them gonna what I say. Into basa you don't explain, you don't react. Them gonna what I say.
Yes.
Na celebrate nipa no bubejo. Na nipa no buju wi a, then you bring all them together. Them gonna what I say. Orifo, the entire asuma American. Now I party be a symbol with this one. I will effect. I was 2024 Kugu no ebi na say aba. If they don't know. MPP abobe na ediso. Mpanyinfo say ye ho no ukurum techiri adurban. Mpanyinfo say baakofo enchi osono.
Baakofo ntimi enchi osono.
Odifo. Mpanyinfo say den.
Baakofo ntimi enchi osono.
Odifo, mpanyinfo say den.
Baakofo ntimi enchi osono.
Enti babayumianko team ntimi enchi osono na. Omdene here no. A word to a wise
is enough. Yeah.
Because meeting cause you serious, and this meeting is too serious. See people start here, no we have to no we have to no you have from the party, now from the party, and I do baby, I do no. This the meeting now, now mobile man misru. Say ejituma misru.
But Papa, the message is deep.
Very deep.
Baako for intimate.
Baako for intimate. So no da. Nipa mi no nchi so no da. Eti ye hia wo no. You see, in every situation, the lessons are more important than the emotions.
Right.
Them gonna what I say. Eti compared to what we are kind of feeling. Eti ma ba umia for them fan say mo tea from Ken. You know. Camp no. Em fa feeling can say ye hia wo. Wo hia wan. Wan na wo hia no. Them gonna what I say.
Oh yes.
In the general election, no one here will be. They are going to
already bro delegates. What delegate?
What delegate?
We here will be a 50 plus 1.
50 plus 1. You are 1 free have become 15 1. If we win, and the campaign might be number 1 a year for them. This is the Baumia camp. Now let's move to the King's camp. Now King's camp.
Papa.
Obama no Papa. Me body na fe Quran. Quran referred to Jesus as Isa and prophet. And Quran chapter 19 verses 30. Yes, Jesus said, I am the servant of Allah, and he has given me the scripture and make me a prophet. So Quran proof Jesus as a great prophet. Luke chapter 7 verse 16, Bible can say a great prophet, a great prophet. I'm talking to Ken's camp. Tim Ken for team a year about me for the Tim come for the enemy no more casa. One fair prophecy is not failure. But if I'm saying
When failed prophecy is not failure.
What do you say there?
When failed prophecy is not failure.
John chapter 11, verses 1 to 6. Osen oyarefo bi wo ho a ofene Lazarus a ofiri Betania. Maria eni nua ba Martha kurum. Na eye Maria odi mu hwehwam esra Awurade.
Na mo bo credential.
Na odi ne tiri pe pa ne nan ho no. Ni nua Lazarus yade no. Enti ni nua no mo soma ba Yesu nkyɛn.
Odi fo se dia.
Ni nua no mo soma ba Yesu nkyɛn. Ese Awurade hwɛ ya wodɔ no yare. Ana Yesu tee no. O kan say.
Ana Yesu soma.
Enye owu yade.
Yesu asɛmbe na Yesu kan Obama.
Enye owu yade.
O se dia.
Yade ni nye owu yade.
Yade na abo na enye owu yade.
Batania ya kurase. Abrantie yi yare. Kromofo nyina betwa no ahia. Oye wadanfo. Ya ne yehwew. Wobekuro we mu. Ene dom edi wachi no. Agari ya ne yehwew. Ana yenia na yemu aduani di nti wafa na damfo no o yare serious enti odifo ko ka kire agya se me ba ne yare yenia ne yare serious Yesu tu ya na maso odifo se monko ka nkire mu nkurase fo se oh yare awai o nguda
enye owo
ya se mo yiye ba
wow
wow tim fonti dem kana mate yare awai
enye owu
yade Yesu na kai
Yesu na kai
Obama anya Yesu na kai say yade ni yowu yade anya na kai na jadi obofo ni dimika ko kan kire Mary ne Martha eni nkurate so munyema home na Yesu a osa yade ne say yade no enye owu yade nti onwu da obi a relax na ade achi tum
because they believe in Christ.
They believe in him kromo fo nyina do omwere asha asema kai no yes. Bible says Yesu tea no tena 2 days.
Oh yeah.
Tim na abrantie na wu. Abrantie na wu dia okay when yenim jealous oba no unyane no. Etie ne yemfa no nto ankosi anwumere. Once o kan ne aba na mane no so oba na akodu anwumere. Sabra Jirabata papa yama.
One show up.
Abusa panyin say nipa wa yarefo enu wasan awu. O bro ntimom yenkosie no. No makosie no ma betena ase o mo hwe kwan ramata na ade ache na ade asan the fourth day Yesu koya untumi nwura kuro no Yesu koya untumi nwura kuro no because nkom se na theory eno ko gina kuro tia eno yosoma ko frɛ mata say Yesu aba waka kuro tia why because said obe wura kuro no ko afo nyina ate say wo se abrantie ni hu eno wawu
Hey, where Yesu ankasa.
Oh my goodness. And nothing I'm called by
Koran. What more be Ajedi?
Tinam ko Koran knows you're a prophet. Bible I just you're a prophet. Apart from Christopher himself or a Messiah. I'm going to say. What more
Baako started say or cancel and honorable can also started a cancel. Na no honorable can e ba ka sem. Kweku baako no kwampo na woro no. Wo trust obe defend na nas no onye clean. Oye obi asabi. Oye evil. Ana oye corrupt pa na MPP aban ana na ado edi anim no. Onim Kweku baako.
So he sued. We tried to settle when Sir John was alive. We tried all means, but there was no success. He won at the High Court. The Court of Appeal has spoken today, said the judgment was wrong.
Na yankomra. Ene ana appeals court no etnase. Na court no etnase ana wo say watie honorable Ken ne evidence a wo de aba. The argument ne lawyers. Me usa na honorable Ken oni aketwa lawyer Kwame Agyapong enso edi akire. Omo argument omo ya wie na judge sin trase ana opagya niti. Ana wo church ama sin niti ana opagya niti. Pa church sin niti ana opagya niti. Ana wie no say this is the court ruling. Was it this is the court ruling? Court no kase Kweku baako onye clean. Kweku baako wone na ba announce amere ya announce. Wo mo na SNG Alaska Company Limited dey to garamse no. Na yo mo dia.
A definite answer because the court is the court and the law is the law. The court can, turn a blue eye to red eye. But the Court of Appeal has followed the law from the Supreme Court. So I think what they did was in the right direction.
So the court ordered a retrial. When are we looking at that?
He is the plaintiff, but there's also a statute of limitation. So we are waiting.
You are supposed to receive some refunds in that. Are you letting the money go or you are still going to take your money?
I don't know what they discussed. I don't know, so I can't speak to that. I can't speak to that.
How long has this case traveled?
2020, I believe 2018 or so. From 2018, yes.
And can you give us a brief background of the case?
Defamation. The man says Honorable Ken has defamed him, so he sued. We tried to settle when Sir John was alive. We tried all means, but there was no success. He won at the High Court. The Court of Appeal has spoken today, said the judgment was wrong because of some statutory breach, which is fundamental. It goes to the root. It's very core. So they have ordered for a retrial. But there's also statute of limitation. So we are waiting.
Abusia for medical mo akwa ba de fere gibre na yenko ensem ne esoe. Na de wo nyina ne se enne appeal course a e won kan akwa asetena amo ahye the editor in chief edema the New Crusade guy newspaper Kweku Baako say sika honorable Ken etuade ma no aye defamation and after in the course Baako aye 100,000 Ghana cedis ada Baako so aye 30,000 Ghana cedis no o ma Kweku Baako enefuare maako makadua 30 days so refund sika na emfama honorable Ken na after so ensem no wo mo san enfiri assembly for the retrial no na nyina ene say MPP aban form in 2017 na 2017 no ana anas ameria anas started say wakwakoye investigation journalism bi e de fa galamsey hu sensem na wahu se na adam Kweku ado ene na appointees ehun ebomu and the anas e de nam ana wo brage say wono wo ma MPP enko second term efi say MPP eti abonte no omo de galamsey e de bo John Dramani Mahama na NDC etiri so na omo bade a o evidence upon evidence e chese na ado ankasa e na afen so no na appointees ni bi eye galamsey na no ana honorable Ken say hene ne ha ana also started e who watch the watchman so e de ba say announce no a ono so wo ye say o ye investigation journalism wono say atente hu atua no to na say bempeni say atente hu atua to a ye montra eja ana honorable Ken so started evidence any further and better particulars wo edit announce e che say announce no o ye corrupt announce so edi esumati ja no ana started say o ye expose no na oya expose na Kweku Baako ekotena Peace FM and also started say and honorable Ken odue ne hobo and na ohwe anasa adwuma oya na honorable Ken epese ohwe 97 ontimi ya adwuma na honorable Ken e kan say what say Kweku Baako ekotena Peace FM e make allegation bi na e bia anasa Kweku Baako ne nam no wonim no enema bia wonim e de fa anasa on e bi oyiche Kweku Baako a Kweku Baako bi shock na Kweku Baako e be ya enko onka na ntum na nam se bi empeni say se bayifo ekọ yi a okosue osasabon samso no enam se anas wonu Kweku Baako o me yakro na bia some of the buddhists no Kweku Baako enim hu bi no enam so ema Kweku Baako start se o kansem ana honorable Ken enso start e kansem na no na honorable Ken e ba beka se Kweku Baako no kwampo na woro no wo trust obe defend anas no onye clean oye obi asabi oye evil ana oye corrupt pa na MPP aban ana na ado edi anim no onim Kweku Baako na so onim Kweku Baako a enko ngigi nanim e ma sori a o ma Jubilee House na ebesi de ana Kweku Baako a woye editor in chief edema the New Crusade guy newspaper ana wakola anas ebe sori be na agi say obegu na nado aban na nado eso Kweku Baako so te nado man so no so ana afeso no garamsey na Kweku Baako ene anas e kan wasem wono ne wo evidence e kire say Kweku Baako ene anas Omakote company bia ye fenom SNG Alaska Company Limited ya omo so 82 galamsey ni bi na mo na sabi mo se mo kwa akobre owuo no se mo so mpafen ana honorable Ken e kan bi wa sempa o kan bi wa adom o kan bi o man FM o kan bi o netu ana o kan se mebre na no ana Kweku Baako che se honorable Ken akwagu nanim ase wagu hu fi de fa defamation no ano ma ensem no so e de call court na o de call court we say ada honorable Ken e make this allegation no e July 18 2018 na honorable Ken e kan ensem no and the honorable Ken ka sa ensem no pe e na October corona 2018 no e na anas e na master Kweku Baako titru e ma ensem no so dese Accra High Court sometime ano mo de asem ko tiani e na yenkomra ewi ache no na October bosome no June na ewi achi no na June 2020 Accra High Court ede ruling ede aba na odi ruling eba ye no na asam okan ni nyina ene sen asam no honorable ken edi nwufo na honorable ken di nwufo no Kweku Baako so de asam ne court no wo se ye kan asam no na se ebo ken de Japan a yanji sika no 25 million Ghana cedis enfama no ene 1 million bia no eye 10 billion and kanji 25 million Ghana cedis enfama ono Kweku Baako ewi ache na court no se do se honorable ken aguru hu fi na mom no 25 million Ghana cedis Kweku Baako pen sanka entini onje 100,000 Ghana cedis that's ankan sika dada no 1 billion and na first the court so file case or file lawyer no so no onje 300 million 30,000 no fan ko pepa na niwa mo ni nsuo na fa pen ba bi entra na judgment de ba na empeni se opama aboa na wanya na wo se aboa we ne ho bon anas Kweku Baako ne ma se oh ye court no enye se bia na nke ekwa akopɛ sika bi na emom no ne ekwa akɔ ohore ho ne ekwa akɔ san yeti na sika ne kwa ya mo de bae no enye no po ananke ye pɛ na emom no na nka ye pɛ sɛ ye ohore na emom court no kan sɛ honorable ken the various platforms na okoko gu Kweku Baako ho fi no on call 3 times na on call tract statement no na on sampa Kweku Baako a kyɛw sɛ o we do okunu ho fi na asɛm no emfa na asɛm ekɔ na ɛno ana honorable ken HSA or not one 7 predecessor. And ya 1 billion and can scatter no. And uncle scatter 300,000, 200 million our tria Ediama, Kweku Baako and Nemum, a bibi. Nemo of a so HSA. Indeed, Kweku Baako or evil. Kweku Baako or ye galamsey. Kweku Baako or ye nipa or ye cleaner. I also on be asem on the bar nas acquire investigation. And to the Oma assembly so at the appeals court. Na adansefo a na nko so court no the high court e ma kwan me from na nko medi adanse no a honorable kensu say na adansefo nyina mba na court no e pentem ko bu antem no anka appeals court no omontena asem no so na yenkomra enne ana appeals court no etena ase na court no tena ase ana o say watie honorable ken the evidence what the aba the argument the lawyers me who say no honorable ke oni aketwa lawyer Kwame Agyapong enso edi akire omo argument omo ya wie na judge si ntrase ana opagya niti ana ochocho am si niti ana opagya niti no wa chocho si niti ana opagya niti no wie no say this is the court ruling was say this is the court ruling court no ka say asam no yensan free ase ne yensan di die obo me kata re trial ne yensan di and now face no said the high court can say can the Japan and for 30 days enter 1.3 billion that is 130,000 900,000 a defamatory and now face no 30,000 a cost no and for Kweku Baako answer so for 1 month 30 days and start funding scan back to honorable ken no man sound free assembly no foforo na asal beto dwa no ana me tete say honorable ken say ono de enye sika na Kweku Baako otua ma no na mum opese o che say ono ken de Japan onye obi a osi nso man sa na waham ana mpani say abo asasa fa de ofa de che na before say ono be kan asem no evidence enti omo be start retro for now obenya kwan na ode ne evidence na dancefo ne witnesses akwa face Kweku Baako ne lawyers e wo court na indeed what prove say Kweku Baako onye clean Kweku Baako wona na ba anas amere ya anas wo mo na SNG Alaska Company Limited dey tu garamse no na yo mo dia na seb wo tu garamse o si dey ko accuse president Kufuor aban say o me garamse abusuafo aha say ana wo ye MPP delegate wo ye MPP ni a me pese usua de bo say anas amere ya anas no why aban no ye na adwo begunu anim as e Kufuor na e ye MPP aban but it took a certain leader like in the Japan they be odo MPP and no fight anas e ba ye kan say in the Japan enko 200,000 as the defamatory damages and now face on the cost of 30,000 party for na nado amusa in the Japan say obenye sika kwa kutua eba ya ye twike de Japan abo so ye na di court atantwe no MPP as a political party and nanado ankase ye hire the services of a lawyer at the amount and to obi any party mu a odo party no echa honorable ken saa time no na se obegu ken the MPP enimu ase ogu nanado aban enimu ase o ma nanado aban no enko second term and she adini call ye ken the Japan 14 no shed by bia MPP ekodu 2020 so if ken the Japan had not fought Anasa, Ebia Canado one just second term. Na MPP, ya besa nya obi te second the Japan. A sabium penimonimu obey kwasia, obey jimifo, e de ama party no. That's a Ghana egu, e mesa anchi Ghana foforo. Ya besa nya obi odin sika, na ho odin na no, ebe defend MPP no. Ebe din pa. Abusha for me din de shaibula sisi. Asem no, baby e free. Baby dunu ana media to onimu. Stay tuned. Subscribe to the Solid TV channel. Na information for be san to for ma me de bebro. Na so e ma Kweku Baako start say o kan sem ana honorable ken enso start e kan sem. Na no na honorable ken e ba be ka sem. Kweku Baako no kwampo na woro no. Wo trust obe defend ana ase no onye clean. Oye obi asabi. Oye evil.